Hi, everybody. We're going to get underway. The really important mission of today is to get rid of those robes that you're wearing, which are distinctly unfashionable and kind of embarrassing. And it's very, very strange for those of us who have been your teachers to see you in this uniform, because we spend the whole time talking to you about the fact that this is a sort of anti-uniform school, that you're all like experimental and you're all transforming the norms. And here you are wearing this sort of pale blue, which is not a color you would ever choose for any of your projects. And all you can see is your face, which now looks surprisingly clean and lively and sort of happy. And of course that means your parents are finally figuring out that you're in good shape. But this is a sort of a strange moment. Of course, it's a moment of being on a threshold. And because you're post-professional students, it's a very strange threshold. Like you kind of walk in, you play with us for a while, and then you rocket out. And in theory, you leave faster than you came in. In other words, what goes on during your time with us is you accelerate. But I think it's just very, very important to get rid of those clothes. Because also what comes with a uniform is that everything is sealed up. Like all the differences between you get sealed up, but also the openings, it goes full length. You basically become a little bit invisible. And this is a school, as you know, totally devoted to opening up architecture to new potential. So it's really about taking away one set of clothes and trying alternative operations. And that, of course, as you know, is what I think an architect is, and it's what an urban designer is simply somebody who creates new potentials, which does not mean that you change the physical fabric of the world. It means much bigger thing, which is you change the way people see the world. And all you do is invite them to think differently. And you've got all sorts of tricks, all sorts of ways to make people see the world differently. And as you know, I think for me this is almost like a technical procedure. Everybody's busy living their lives, like billions of people in a huge world. And almost everybody is actually trying to survive. I mean, it's really a planet of people trying to survive. And what the architect or the urban designer does is insert into the rhythms of everyday life something slightly different, a kind of a hesitation, a way of thinking different. And it's almost a surgical thing. It's not like you design whole new cities, it's that you change the way people think about what a city might be. What that means is that you are incredibly optimistic, like amazingly optimistic, that you will go out in the world, make a little adjustment that will have people think differently, see the world differently, and then maybe live their lives differently. And I think this optimism is incredibly important. If you read the newspapers, what newspapers are left, in a way it's hard not to feel an incredible sense of sadness about the way the world is going. And what's weird about an architecture school is precisely because the world needs our care, we have this extraordinary optimism. When everybody else is sort of down, we're sort of up. Even in the financial crisis, interestingly, the architects who are the first not to get any jobs as a result of the crisis, the kind of canaries of the economic world, are the most optimistic and the most interested in what the new potentials are. So basically what goes on here is that we spend some time with you, totally crazy, in this intense laboratory of experimentation. In theory, you come out somehow different, but you also leave the school totally different as well. And this particular class has changed the school. And the school doesn't yet know what that means. In other words, you haven't left yet. We're still suffering the shock of the end-of-year show. So basically, at the end of the year show, we realized what kind of damage you're doing to our assumptions, to our way of thinking. So basically, the school is sort of thinking, well, what does that mean for the future of architecture and education? And you're noticing how interesting the work of your colleagues is, and everybody's not sure what that means. In other words, this is an incredibly exciting moment, because we genuinely don't know what would be the consequences of this amazing work that's on display all around the school. And in most situations, in most schools, in most commissions, in most social situations, you can more or less guess which way things are going. And what's interesting is you fly into the school at incredibly high speed. It's very hard to get into the school, so you have to go really fast and be going at such a speed that we have to admit you. But then when you leave, we don't have that feeling for where you're going to go, precisely because your mind is so open. So I'm sort of thrilled to be able to say I sort of have no idea what this graduating class is going to do, where they're going to do it, and how they're going to do it. All I know is the world had better be very careful, because this is an extraordinary class. I would say you are a dangerous class. Anybody that hires you does so at great risk. That's why they will hire you, because without taking such a risk, without hiring somebody that will challenge you, you will end up only with an office that reproduces your own way of thinking. In other words, the reason that you will be hired is precisely because nobody knows what you really represent. This seems like a very odd thing to be saying to graduating students, that we're incredibly proud that we don't know what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, and the people that hire you won't know either. But that is the history of this school. For its 125 years, it has generated new forms of intelligence, and basically the world is desperately in need of intelligence. It's not in need of people who can build cities and make cities. In fact, the world is exploding. More than half the population of the world is living in cities. There's a vast production of cities. Cities are probably the fastest growing product on the planet. And therefore, in a certain sense, the last thing the world needs is people who can add more buildings to the world. But what the world desperately needs is a kind of intelligence about this, about what it means. And I think you really do represent a new form of intelligence. We have tormented you using every technique we know. Many of the procedures which are now considered to be quite acceptable by governments, we go way beyond that, way beyond that. Very few of the procedures that go on inside a school of architecture would survive a general human rights test. You don't eat, you don't sleep, you don't have any space, you don't have any food, you don't have any future. You have, you're basically suspended in the most radical experiment of your life. And in that space in which you are just treasuring one thing, which is the possible better future for our society, this is one of the best nuclear reactors in the world for thinking about the new potentials for society. We did our best to torment you. We really worked hard to make your life a horror. You took revenge with the end-of-year show. We simply don't know how to absorb the new form of intelligence that you have produced. You're transforming the field. What I'm saying to you, and I apologize for the kind of military metaphor, but you're really like a heat-seeking missile. Very dangerous, very fast, very intelligent, never know quite what's going on. The world had better watch out. The great secret, of course, of Columbia has got nothing to do with the faculty. There's actually no known relationship between a spectacular faculty and spectacular students. You can have actually half as spectacular faculty and it will be the same. The real secret of the school is the students, right? They're unbelievably thirsty. Of course, you're interesting because you're post-professionals, so you have a kind of explosive mix of real-world experience and expertise and the experimental work in our laboratory. So you combine the most visionary, most radical thinking about the possible future with a kind of realism. In other words, you are from the world and of a lot of the world, from like 65 countries, right? So this is an incredibly explosive mix. You're high energy, incredibly responsible, I would say, and respectful of the complexity and also the fact that so much of our world is almost unknowable to us in the speed at which it changes. You're artists, for sure. For sure, you could be simply graduating as artists, and I think you would totally deserve a degree in that. I can't tell you how proud the school is of this particular year. It's like we're irritatingly proud of what you've done. We consider it a kind of a privilege to have worked with you, and this is a genuine feeling on the part of the students. The problem with the post-professional degrees is you hit us so hard and so quick, and the damage is done, and before we know what you've done to us, you've gone. So this is just my last chance to sort of thank you for abusing us so thoroughly and so well. I think at some other level, since I'm a historian, I believe at some point the history will have to be written of your generation. I think that's not a cliche. I think there's too many new techniques have been developed in this generation, such a new combination of skills. So at some point people will look back and say the meaning of this particular generation is whatever and whatever and whatever. For now, all I can say is unbelievable, unbelievable talent and thirst, and for those of you who have been for many, many years your victims, your parents and your family, we took over that role for a while. We very happily hand you back to your families, really shaken and terribly, terribly proud. So I just want to congratulate you. You're an amazing class, and there'll never be a way in which your teachers can fully express to you the magic connection that was established for just in the course of only 1 year. But I can tell you, weirdly enough, that both the teachers and students about 20, 25 years from now will start telling stories about what went on during your time here. Many of the stories will not be true, actually, but what will happen is there'll be a sense that something went on. Because I'm sure in the same way that I don't know what you really did when you were with us, I'm sure you don't know either. And we need to meet again, like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, and try to figure out what it is that you've done. The reason I think, and this is, I'm repeating myself, but I just want to say it again, the reason the teachers are so amazed by this particular post-professional year is you simply have defeated our ability to generate a kind of cliche description of what it is that your generation represents. That's an amazing achievement because you have a faculty that are literally some of the world's experts in generating cliche descriptions of what's going on in our field. Basically, if you can defeat your faculty in terms of describing what they're doing, there's nobody in the world that will be able to contain you. And it's this inability to contain you that makes you so dangerous, so beautiful, and so amazing. So again, just saying to you from the faculty, unbelievable. I hope you, every now and then, let us know what you're up to. And again, I want to tell you, I bet you don't know what's going to happen. We don't know. But within a couple of years, the damage will be done. The world had better be warned. Anyway, congratulations. You're a great class. You know, it's like a science fiction movie. You're like a new technology, and we're scurrying around. We're humans. You're not. And we're trying to figure you out. We're trying to figure you out. Are you kind? Will you treat us well? We know the world will change now that you're in charge, right? We know it. We just don't know what that means. So we're going to start going through the programs, beginning with the Master of Science in Advanced Architectural Design, and the director of that program, the superly amazing Enrique Walker. I used to describe him as the candidate for nicest person in the universe, but basically when the other candidates for the position met him, they gave up. He just sort of sweeted them out. And what's amazing, of course, about Enrique is this sweetness and this tenderness is combined with what might be one of the very sharpest minds in our field. So how can sweetness and sharpness be in one person? How could it be in a whole year? How could it be the sharpest, fastest, most experimental year and yet be incredibly tender about a world that needs our care? So in every way, Enrique represents the school in the best possible spirit. Enrique.
Thank you, Mark. Cristina Giscalu. Charlie Alasraki. Joana Aguilidu. José Antonio Aragüez. Michael Stephen Arellanes II. Dania Ata. Alexandros Avlonitis. Unsuk B. Jorge Andrés Barragán. Hernán Betanzos. Adam Bentley Brillard. Barrett William Brown. Benjamin Simon Carr. Gonzalo Emilio Casís. Alejandro de Castro Mazarro. Yuyuan Chang. Rika Chaudhry. Anastasia Jolie. Sang-Yung Chan. David Ricardo Dávila Araque. Delal Demircioglu. Chukuyemese y Fechukude Dozi. Bradley Noel Guzman. Diego Fernández Villaverde. Sergio Gómez. David Oswaldo González. Stephanie Aroc. Junichiro Horikawa. Sun Hyun Jang. Evangelia Carajalio. Han Kim. Moon-Young Kim. Kozara Kuyundzic. Wei Yu Lai. Patrick Stephen Lauzell. Daewok Lee. Si-Yun Lee. Marilis Lilover. Jae-Hyun Lim. Annie Karkay Low. John Henry Locke. Matthew James Lutz. Gwendolyn Christine McFarland. Nazar Madhu. Paola Márquez Tovar. Eduardo Mayoral González. Ana María Terés Meister. Sina Mesdagi. Karen Behara Mitri. Yorgos Mitrogiorgis. Masaki Morinobu. Kyung Na. Adolfo Nadal. Saskia Marina Nagel. Marcelo Javier Nájera García. Gabriel Kasai Nichols. Efrat Nizan. Tad Eiichi Nobuhara. Zachary Coleman Olzak. James Patrick O'Meara. Joshua Harrison Paget. Eleni Papanastasiou. San Juan Park, Sanyong Park, Sonal Rojibai Patel, Pablo Pérez Palacios, Eleni Petalotti, Megan Ruth Quinn, Michael Casey Ream, Natalia Rumeliotti, Panayoti Sarlis, Ignacio Senra, Jorge Andrés Serpa, Guillermo Sevillano, Jay Atul Shah, Hiju Shi, Hiromasa Shibata, Sangwan Shin, James Boyce Sykes, Adrian Anon Smith, Emmanuel Stavrakakis, Inho So, Koko Takahashi, Jennifer Joyce Factor Tan, Pietro Todeschini, Charles Robert Valla, Eric Jean-Pierre Vergne, Heath Brandon West, Chichen Young, Karin Yuini Young, Andrea Marie Zalewski, Adriana Lee Zarrillo, Lauren Heather Zucker,
So this is the AAD class of 2009. Okay, so now we're going to do the Master of Science in Architecture and Urban Design. A totally amazing program. If you listen to the urban designers, they think that everything else in the school actually belongs to them. And precisely because urban design has this ability to bring together all aspects of the built environment, it's a program that's going from strength to strength because, as you know, from Obama on, urban design is what we need. This is the class. The director of the program is Professor Richard Plunce, who's been an absolutely a genius, I would say, in guiding steadily this program towards the future that it needs. In other words, at the moment in which there is this call for urban design on a global scale, there is a program ready to deliver the kind of intelligence that's necessary. This has been years and years that the school has been making itself ready for this moment, this mission, and it's Richard's credit that this has happened. Richard.
Okay, on with the, I think, let's get on with it. Okay, Benjamin Fitzgerald Oh, Habiba Akhtar. Maria Alicia Bedak. Marielle Victoria Casanova. Marianella Castillo. Olympia Chermazi. Hui Dong. Robert Matthew Drury. Jameson Neil Fajardo. Nuela Gallagher. Shruti Villakamar Guancar. Pierre-Louis Gellier. Marta Guerra Pastrian. Tana Marie Hovland. Ariel Yenju Ye. Sui Suen Xie. AKA Kenzo. Zheng Hui. Zijin. Romina Kandani. Dongse Kim. Martha Colotroni. Amadip Labana. Hector Luis Lim. Shreya Malu. Danielle Montes Santa Maria. Vivian Tingwing Ngo. Guanghang O. Margarita Papadimitriou. Yakima Emilio Peña Perez. Oh. Wait, I'm out of order here. Where are we? Yes, Ginny Sharma. Shengwei Shi. Julia Melanie Seedler. Ashley Rose Spatafore. Achilles Rinvas. Okay. Here's Aquila. Mania Tashia Taher. William Christopher Tate. J. Tung Tran. Emily Miriam Widenoff. Nuo Zhu. Nita Kuvabun. Xu Zhang. Yingning Zheng. And Tahir Zoyab.
So this is the class of AUD 2009. We had a request from the students to have no prizes this year due to a sort of deep sense of egalitarian democratic unity, but we've decided to go against the students' wishes and award prizes anyway. It's really hard to award these prizes. The student should know that the faculty spends an entire day looking at every single drawing of the portfolio and arguing and arguing and arguing. So the end result is the selection of people to win prizes that somehow represent the class, not just the person, but represent the spirit of the whole class, was very, very difficult to do this year because there was really incredibly beautiful work being done. So we're going to begin with the William Kinney Fellows Memorial Traveling Prizes. There's a series of different committees. The first one is from the AAD program, the Advanced Architectural Design program. And the winner for this one this year for a project entitled The Element of the Street in Lina Barbardi's work, examining the case of the theatre and restorations plans for Salvador Bahia, is Eleni Petaliti. And for a project entitled Finding a Balance Between Vernacular Architecture and Developing Building Practices in Bhutan, Megan Quinn. For a project entitled The Babel and the Pioneer, Manual of Buenos Aires, an interview with Clorindo Testa, Marilis Lilova. And the final award from the Advanced Architectural Design Subcommittee is for a project entitled Interstate Topology, Matthew Lutz. And from the Architecture and Urban Design Subcommittee for a project entitled Learning from Japan, the Role of Rail Infrastructure in Urban Growth, Dong Sui Kim and Daniel Montes Santa Maria. For a project entitled Learning from Green Heart, Reevaluate Greenwash Issues, Hu Shenhui and Shengwei Shi. Okay, the gloves are off. School-wide Kinney Awards. Infrastructure as an economic instrument, lessons from Japanese stimulus spending during the lost decade, Benjamin Abelman. For a project entitled Frank Lloyd Wright Meets Japan, Diego Fernandez Villaverde. And for a project called The Role of the Mall in the Process of Spatial Reconciliation in South Africa, Anna Maria Meister and Andrea Zalewski. I think if you listen to the sound of these research projects, you understand what I mean about not knowing the way the world is going. This is an extraordinarily complex set of questions. Here's one. Fast, cheap, and out of control without architects, or why infrastructure will not save us. John Locke. Figure this one out. 800 meters of high density. Vivian Yo. A project entitled Post-Soviet Urbanography, Analysis of Hypergrowing and Shrinking Cities in Kazakhstan, Julia Scheidel and Yanju Hui. And now for the Lucille Smyser Lowenfish Memorial Prizes. This is each studio critic chooses one person from their studio who most represents the best design work addressing the problem in their last year of work here, which is open to MArch students, to AAD students, and to UD students. And of course, now we're going to do first the AAD students. So Mario Gooden's studio on the Post-Human from the Critical Theory Institute, University of of California, Irvine. The winner of the Lowenfish was Andrea Zalewski. It's kind of impossible to win these prizes, you know. Juan Herreros chose for his project Interventions in Blocks of the Central City, which was in Madrid, Juan Cristobal Amintagui. Great. See, some people get the point right away. Jeffrey Inaba's amazing studio project entitled Things Will Get Worse Before They Get Better was a double award to Bradley Engelsman and Yem Adozi. Jeffrey Johnson's project on Megablock Beijing, China, a double award to Guillermo Sevillano and Ignacio Senra. Ed Keller's studio had the title Speed Territory Communication, and the fastest, most territorial communicator was John Locke. Giuseppe Legnano and Ada Toller, Low-Tech, their project, the Monograph Studio, went to Elene Papanazzazio. So Enrique Walker, completing, I think, the series of this most amazing studios called the Dictionary of Received Ideas, has defeated us by going for a quartet, which will be impossible for me to say with any accuracy. But here we go. Sun Hun Yang, Ki Ong Na, Sang Kwan Park, and Jennifer Joyce Factor Tan. Now to the Architecture and Urban Design Lowen Fish Awards. The teachers, which as you probably know, the students work collaboratively on a project with the collaborative teachers. So the collaborative teaching team of Richard Plantz, Michael Conrad, Petra Kempf, Kate Orff, Geeta Mehta, and Eric Prody as a visiting critic, had a studio entitled Vienna, Ashburn Emerging Social Agglomeration of Place. And there were 4 winners. Marta Guerra, Vivian Nyo, Emily Weidenhoff, and Nozu. For the studio entitled Mumbai, Moving Up Dharavi, Richard Plantz, Michael Conrad, Petra Kemp, Kate Orff, and Geeta Mehta awarded to 4 people, the first of which is Ben Abelman. And then Ariel Huishui. Hector Lim. And finally, Julia Seidel. Okay, now we have a set of honor awards for excellence in design, which is in recognition of the high quality of work in the design students using the students' program of studies. This is what they would not stop fighting about for hours. And when they finally came up with this list, everybody agreed this was the hot list. So the hot people are, number 1, Jose Araguez. Jamieson Fajardo. Masaki Morinobo. Thad Nobahara. Joshua Paget. Ignacio Senra. Emily Weidenhoff. Andrea Zalowiski. This year, the faculty invented a new award because there is hot, and then there is very hot, and very hot honor award with distinction for Bradley Engelsman. And now for the GSAPP Prize for Excellence in Urban Design, which is to recognize the student whose work in the urban design program has been simply the most outstanding, and there was no doubt it was Vivian Nyo. So there's hot, and then there's very hot, and then there's untouchably hot. And that's the William Ware Prize and the Saul Kaplan Traveling Fellowship to recognize the student in the Advanced Architectural Design program whose work throughout the studios has been simply outstanding, which was funded by a bequest from Saul Kaplan, who graduated from the school in 1957, and the prize is for travel and study following graduation. This is the highest honor, and this is for John Locke. So this is an amazing group of people. You could hear it. If you hear what they're thinking about, you hear what they're doing, you see what they're doing. This is a shockingly good class. This is the class of 2009. Food, that way.